Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of a series that I am calling the Meister Spiker. The series is going to be focused on helping you win your local Meister Cup. Our first episode here is on Makeine, MKI. So who this series is for and what exactly I'm aiming to do. So a spike is a term of player that is borrowed from Magic the Gathering, which is a type of person who is looking to play the game just to win. If that describes you, then this series is likely very much for you. In this series, I'm probably not going to be giving out very many full 50-card decks, so I'm also going to be assuming an average level of deck building ability. And through this series, I'm going to hopefully be able to predict what players at your locals will be playing at a Meister Cup and finding a deck that either beats that deck or finding tech cards that can swing a game in your favor. But why, you might ask? Why even bother making this series for a one-time event? Well, it's because of this. Some of these promos can get very expensive, and if you're a spike, like me, it's very enticing to win these tournaments to turn it into a cash prize. So, we'll get started immediately. So what I predict people will be playing at their Meister Cups will be any level 1 combo into the Ana 3-2. A lot of players will just net deck off of Twitter or Discord, and the box standard deck of the set has come to be your favorite level 1 into the Ana 3-2. I don't think there's anything wrong with net decking. Net decking typically comes from a place where a lot of people have gathered ideas and settled on a single deck, and that is typically more valuable of information than just one Joe Schmo telling you what to play. I say, knowing full well that I am one Joe Schmo just telling you what to play here. So while Ana is definitely the most fun way to play this set, and it is how I will be playing the set outside of Meister Cups, it's also not the best if everybody is just playing Ana. Thankfully, however, it is a very easily countered combo. So Ana's text effectively reads as a pay 5, heal 4, which generally speaking is an okay rate. I'm going to go on a side tangent here for a second, though, and talk about two counters that will absolutely hose an Ana player. So that's the Lemon 1/1 counter, which will mill 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Ana can't activate if your opponent has less than 3 cards in deck. So if at any point in time the Lemon counter would mill them down to 1 or 2 cards, then Ana can't resolve, they don't get their extra level, and they've just wasted a turn. Ana also activates at end of attack, which means any memory kick backup is going to send her to memory, which will then send her to waiting room because of her static effect. These are not typically good cards. MKI is not particularly good at playing for board, but if you find a list that can fit these in, maybe put one or both in, as they will just lead to free wins, and maybe those free wins will happen during your 3-round locals. Back on topic, though, with Ana basically being a vanilla heal 4 with some added flavor, in order to actually capitalize on that, the Ana player has to commit extra stock to other healers. They typically don't have that stock due to pay 5 being a very large cost. That pay 5 also means that they dump their entire stock into their waiting room, making their next refresh often very bad. With bad refreshes, whenever you're going into level 3, this can easily be capitalized by these killers right here. Lemon, Kaju, and Chica are all cards that push extra damage at the end of the game and get exceptionally better whenever they are aimed at somebody who has not compressed very well, or even averagely, to be honest. So we're going to go into quite a bit of math here on the expected damage values of these finishers. So our goals and assumption with the math that we will be doing in evaluating these cards. So while Ana can technically happen at level 2, if the Ana player plays the changer at level 2, they are likely getting hit to level 3 and then using the changer, which will mean that they are left at 3-0 instead of some space in the level 2 range. If they're playing standby, they might be able to get it out early, but then they're playing standby at level 1, and that's not a great way to win the game. So, these finishers will be evaluated on their ability to deal 11 or more damage in a single turn and or survive a swing back without hitting level 4. For these calculations, I have used Kokutoru's damage evaluation calculator. I'll be leaving a link to that in the description. There's a whole info dump on how to use it within that link. If you're not already using this calculator, you should be. It's very good. So for this, rather than looking at the entire charts, we'll just be looking at a 6-30 and a 6-25 spread. These represent deck states that are better than first deck compression, but are still not anywhere near what I'd call good deck compression. All of this said, though, your opponent is likely never going to have exactly 6-30 or 6-25 cards. All of this said, the deck states that you see in an actual game will differ heavily from the very clean 6-30 and 6-25 deck states that the calculator accounts for. So first up here, we have Lemon. Lemon costs 9 stock to triple the combo with the event, plus a 1 extra stock at some point in time in the game to send the level 0 to memory. She also costs 3 extra cards in your hand. That's on top of the 3 copies of her, the climax, and the event. Lemon has a 56% chance to deal 11 or more damage versus a 6-30 deck, and a 43% to deal 11 or more against a 6-25 deck. 56% against this 6-30 means that you are actually killing the Ana player from 3-3 more often than you're not. Now, unfortunately, if you do not happen to get 3 copies of your combo with the event, 2 combos with the event drops off really hard and only has a 24% chance to kill from 3-3, and an abysmal 14% to kill against 6-25. Also, if you whiff the event and only have 3 of the combo, you are less than 10% chance to kill from 3-3. So at that point, it's almost not even worth it. So we'll evaluate the pros and cons of this package here. Starting with the pros. The changer means you basically have the event at any time. Getting events into your hand is typically a very difficult thing to do in decks that want to play events that don't cantrip. However, with the changer being a upfront cost for your finisher, as well as a card that filters into your event, I wouldn't worry too much about not having it. It still happens sometimes, but I would consider those outliers. The changer will offset your 9 stock. While your total stock spent on your finisher is going to always be 9, it's a lot easier whenever that's spread out over the course of the game. If you ever pair into a deck that is not playing the Ana level 3, maybe somebody else who's watched this video because you shared it around, the lemon's still going to be pretty good. You're greater than 90% to deal 8 against most deck states. Lemon is also one of the few finishers that has no restriction on what your hand looks like after fielding the cards. She can discard any card and still get her effect. Moving on to the cons of this, there's a lot of moving parts in this core. So you have your level 0 that has to go to memory. You have your event, which thankfully the changer will grab, but that does mean you have to play the changer. And this is in addition to the combo itself. That's going to be a lot of things to keep track of. And if one piece falls apart, it means substantially less damage expectancy. Even though Lemon is a healer, with the event making you clock yourself, if you happen to not win the game on the spot, which generally is what's going to happen, but with triple combo and the event, you're expecting to win. But if you don't win on the spot, you are the most likely out of the 3 decks to die on the swing back because you are negating your own heals with the event. And with this, the deck has little room for any kind of stock generation. So the 9+1 stock is likely going to feel like a lot more than even our next option, which is technically more resources. And most importantly for the cons, green just sucks in this set. Green is absolutely the worst supported color in this set. You have maybe like one genuinely good standalone card, and the rest of it is just whatever. So typically what your green is going to look like in this deck is just 4 copies of every of the package, with only 2 of the event, maybe 3. You lose a lot of flexibility in playing a suboptimal color. Our next finisher option here is Kaju. Kaju comes in at costing 10 stock to triple with 3 extra hand, but that's also going to need to be in addition to the Nukumizu that you have to hold for resonance on each resolution of the effect. He cannot be discarded for the cost of the climax combo, as he has to be revealed after the discard. Triple of this combo is going to be 41% likely to kill an Ana player at 6 and 30, and 27% versus 6 and 25. 2 of them is okay into 6 and 30 at 21% chance to deal your needed 11 damage, but anything beyond that is going to be a lot less. This said, the way the combo works, you are effectively guaranteed to deal 6 or more into any deck state. That includes the 6 and 30, 6 and 25, as well as any other deck state you can think of. Being able to say burn 2, I said burn 2, I said burn 2 is a really good way to make sure that they're taking that 6 damage. Pros and cons of this deck. The first pro, if you're playing this combo, you're probably playing an 8-choice deck, be that the Kaju level 1 or the Ana level 1. And it's going to make that 10 stock feel a lot less. It's going to look like the most expensive on this list, but it's not. It's definitely going to feel cheaper than the Lemon does. It's also a very straightforward combo. While your hand does need to be about as sculpted as the Lemon combo, it's a little bit more lenient with what it is, as you just need the one Nukumizu in your hand. And while it doesn't require the full resonance package, and thank God for that, as the Brainstorm in the resonance package is one of the worst cards I've read in a long time, there are really good cards in that resonance package. Good examples here are the Stock Charger and the 2 different assists I have pictured here. The Stock Charger also helps offset that 10 stock. Now for the cons. If you are playing 8 choice, none of your climaxes are going to be able to grab your resonance target. You're going to have to hold that in your hand, even though it's going to feel like you don't want to whenever you have to sculpt for something else. The cancel burn on the combo does not carry over to the attack damage. It is only on the burn 2. If the burn 2 sticks immediately, and then the swing for 3 or 4 cancels, you don't get a cancel burn off of that. I bring this up as it is easy to misunderstand the combo as working like that, but unfortunately it does not. If the initial 2 sticks, that's it. You did it. And lastly, it's also just kind of hard to sculpt 3 combo in this deck. You would think it's easier because the Nukumizu will allow you to ditch an extra card to filter into whatever you want. But with the fact that choice can't grab it, you always want to be holding 1 in hand and therefore not sculpting your hand. So with 2 combo being a good bit worse than 3, it gets a little difficult to sculpt this finisher into your hand. So with these first 2 finishers, you might be asking yourself, why are we caring about stats that don't go above 50%. Outside of Triple Lemon with the event, everything I have listed off has been less than 50%. Well, the best way doesn't always mean that you're favored to win. It is a lot better to try and fail to kill the Ana player than it is to just roll over and take it. Thankfully, though, even if you do miss lethal with either of these finishers, Ana is unlikely to present a strong kill turn since they had to pay that 5 for their effect. They do have the off-climax finisher Ana, but if they don't even have 2 stock to pay for it, that's not much of a threat. So with that, if you're ever compressed well enough, they'll often miss lethal just by 1 attack. I like to call this the Dolores effect because Dolores in Bang Dream has a very similar issue where if they ever miss lethal, it's by 1 instance of damage and not by a mile. With this, we have to look for a middle ground. And that middle ground is Chica. Chica costs 4 stock at most and requires 3 extra characters specifically in your hand. 3 of your Chicas are going to be 26% chance to deal 11 damage into a 6 and 30 deck. Against a 6 and 25 deck, it drops pretty drastically, and if you're resolving only 2 combo, something has gone horribly wrong. This combo is worse than Triple Ana Burn at dealing precisely 7 or less, but it is better at dealing 8 or more damage than Triple Ana Burning 2 would. So it probably sounds like I'm not making a good case for this, so why bother? And the answer is flexibility. Chica gives you the best flexibility out of any of the finisher options within MKI. With a 4 stock maximum, you can spend all of your other stock on other heals for both of your early plays, which are both actually pretty good. And this is also going to include the anti-damage that's in the set. I think a lot of people forget that this set actually has an anti-damage. And it's especially good into Ana because Ana burns at the end of her attack. So if you anti-damage an Ana, she will not get the attack damage and she will not get the burn damage either, which is, in a way, it is a heal 5 for you as you stop the 3 damage from the attack and the 2 damage from the burn. Another advantage to Chica is her draw 2, ditch 2, stock 1 effect churns through a lot of cards to find either more copies of her, any of the tech that you might be playing, or your anti-damage that you want to resolve against your opponent. Chica also has the 0/0 changer in addition to the 2/1 changer that all of the other finishers have as well, that gets to bring it out for actually free. In fact, it gets it for less than free, because playing the Chica through the changer means you gain 1 stock. This makes finding 3 climaxes really easy, even if you're on a stock crunch. With the changer, you only need 2 stock to triple the finisher. This finisher also requires no moving parts, so there's no event to grab. You don't have to play the changer. And that opens up so many more slots compared to other decks to play any other techs that you might like. The changer is definitely not necessary for the combo, but it does have the ability to scam cancels if your opponent attacks into it not last. And if they do attack into it last, it helps you set up your draw step, which will find either more copies of the finisher or your climax. But it would be unfair if I didn't talk about the trade-offs of this deck. So MKI is severely lacking in off-climax finishers other than the Ana 3/2, which only works in Ana-focused decks. Well, okay, it doesn't only work in them, but it's only good in them. So there's no way to customize your damage if something like 2 Chica and a Restander would be good. You just don't have access to any kind of a Restander. Chica decks are also way less good in any kind of swingy game. So any game that goes excessively long or excessively short, you're going to have a bit of a more difficult time. While this deck does have the best access to the anti-damage in the set, the anti-damage does require you to have a full field, which will feel really difficult to achieve sometimes. especially if your opponent counters, as the Chica does not gain power on her climax combo. Another slight con to this deck is that your healers are separate from your finisher. Generally speaking, I want my finisher to cantrip, and this one, while it doesn't cantrip, it does draw me into my climax to resolve the combo that I am playing it for. But it does eat up a couple slots, and it stresses your sculpting a little bit, as if you sculpt for a finisher turn and you end up needing healers, that can end up rather unfortunate. Inversely, if you sculpt for healers, but you get shot to level 3 and you need to make a Hail Mary finisher turn, you're not going to have your finishers in hand in order to try to do that. Chica decks are also typically going to be worse into non-Ana decks than the Ana will be. So if you're ever paired into a deck playing Lemon or Kaju, you're at a greater disadvantage than the Ana player would be. This deck has the potential to do the best into Ana decks. However, queuing into anything that isn't an Ana deck is going to give you a bit of a rough time. All of this being said, you can still just play Ana. Ana likely has the best changer out of all of the 2/1s that are in the set, as it comes down, swings for 2 soul at 10k, kills anything, and then screws off to memory. The burn 2 mode is also deceptively good. There can be games where you just choose to not go to level 4 and instead just do triple burn 2. It's not the best finisher, but it's also not bad, and it's also free. On top of all of this, blue is by far the best supported color in this set, with tons of unique effects and access to the only off-climax finisher in the entire set. With all of this, if you're playing Ana and your opponent's playing Ana, you're just playing normal Weiss that goes an extra level. Like, if everybody's going to level 4, then level 4 is no longer an advantage. It just goes back to being the normal coin flip game. And sometimes you just want the coin flip game. You don't want to put in extra work for an extra 1% of win percent whenever you can just turn your brain off, play the same deck, and take your 50-50. With a short tournament like a Meister Cup will be, that 50-50 is going to work out at some point in time. So ultimately, which one should you play at your upcoming Meister Cup? I honestly think that anything other than Ana is going to be your best bet at your Meister Cup, as most people will be playing Ana, so why not bring a deck that does well into Ana? All 3 options for finishers are going to have their own merits, and you know your locals better than I do. So make a bit of an evaluation on what you think your locals will be playing, but I would hazard a guess that they're going to be playing some kind of Ana level 3. All of this is just my opinion, though. I could be absolutely out of my mind with all of these thoughts. So please feel free to let me know what you think would be the best deck to take to a Meister Cup in the comments. Also, press the button. Do it.